Begin Self-Publishing, episode number 74. Twitter Chats with Madalyn Sklar.
Interested in self-publishing but don't know where to start? Want to get your book onto Amazon? Want to hold your paperback book in your hands? Learn how on the Begin Self-Publishing podcast with your host, Tim Lewis.
This week I talked to Madalyn Sklar, who is a Twitter expert and also quite a good speaker from what I've seen of the recording of her presentation at Social Media Marketing World. Now, in terms of my own experience with Twitter chats, an awful lot of the followers I built up on my main Stone and Press account were because I participated in the now defunct Future Chat, Twitter chat, which was run by the bookseller. This helped me to get a lot of followers of people in the publishing industry. And I think with enough time and effort, you could do the same thing with your own Twitter account, either participating or by starting your own Twitter chat. There is no doubt in my mind that while they take a lot of time, they are worthwhile participating in. So I thought I would get an expert to talk about Twitter chats on the show. So now over to the interview. Hi Madalyn, and welcome to the show.
Hey Tim, thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so I suppose the first question that people will be asking is, what exactly is a Twitter chat?
Well, I get asked that all the time. A Twitter chat is basically a conversation revolving around a hashtag. That's really the simplicity of it. People come together and they look at the hashtag on Twitter and their tweets, and there's people having a conversation. They usually run for about an hour. They're usually once a week. Some are once a month or maybe bi-weekly. It depends on the host and how they're doing it. But the great thing about Twitter chats is that there are so many different ones out there with so many different topics. There's really something for everybody. You can just go and Google Twitter chat and whatever topic that interests you. And I guarantee you will find some information just from doing a simple search. Mine is Twitter tips, and we just come together every week and we share Twitter tips. It's that simple, but we share knowledge and people come on and learn things. And that's what I love about a Twitter chat. You're there to have a conversation with people, but you could also do this in a way where people can learn. And that's really important to me.
Yeah, I mean, from my experience with Twitter chats, I think they're fantastic for making connections much more deeply than you normally would on Twitter. So, if we're talking about authors or people who are selling books, how do they go about finding maybe a Twitter chat that they would be useful to them in terms of promoting their books?
Well, what I did is I did a Google search and I just typed in Twitter chats for authors, and I'm amazed at how many things came up in the search. There are lots of resources. There's some directories out there that list a variety of chats. So I think that's a good way to get started because there are some that are for specific genres. There's some that are specific for bringing authors together. I saw one that was to bring authors and book lovers together. So there's a variety of chats out there, but also you might see that there's not a specific one you're looking for, maybe for your genre or maybe for the kind of community you're looking for. And then you could just start your own, So there's plenty of chats out there, but there's also that thing you may want to think about, like starting your own chat. So, but yes, I just start with a Google search. There's not one directory that is like the directory listing of every single chat there is because chats come and go. I think it's hard for one person to keep up with every chat out there in the world. So I just find it's best to do a Google search for your industry or your niche, and then I think you'll find some things when you go that route.
Yeah, so something I learned, I think, is an obvious issue that people have with Twitter chats is if you try and use like the standard desktop Twitter client and you're just searching for this hashtag all the time to see what people are saying, it's actually quite hard to keep up with a Twitter chat. Is there any special software that you recommend people use to try and keep up with a Twitter chat?
There is, and I agree with you. It is hard to be on Twitter and try to keep up with a Twitter chat. They've not really come up with a way to make it really simple and easy. You have to just type in the hashtag and try to keep up with it. And it's in reverse chronological order. So you may want to look at something from the beginning and it's just a mess. So what I recommend doing is there's a free website and it's tweetchat.com. And it's really simple. You just go in there, you put in the hashtag of the chat that you want to participate in, and it will ask you to approve your Twitter credentials with that tool. And now you're in basically like a room on the webpage, and it shows all the tweets that are happening live in real time. So if a chat is happening right now at this moment, it will just spit out all the tweets and you can just follow the conversation. You can easily hit the like button, the retweet, the reply, and do all of that right there. And the reason why I really love this free website and I'm always advocating it is because if you want to do a tweet in this platform, at the top, there's a big box and you can type in your tweet. It will automatically put the hashtag in for you. And what I've learned in the 5 years that I've been running Twitter chats is that when somebody's new and they're first coming on a Twitter chat and they're trying to figure out how to do this, it's hard to remember to type in the hashtag. If you don't type in the hashtag, no one sees your tweet because really what we're doing for 1 hour is we're all hyper-focused on that one hashtag and having the conversation around it. So if you forget the hashtag, we're not seeing it in that moment. So too many times new people will forget and they're tweeting away and they're not putting the hashtag and then they realize at the end of the chat like, oh, I forgot. And it's frustrating. So when you're using tweetchat.com, it will do it for you, and that is huge. I even use it, even after 5 years, participating in lots of chats, running my own. I use tweetchat.com because it just makes it easy for me. I don't have to think about remembering to type in the hashtag. So I recommend that. There's another one that is the letters tchat.io. So the letter T, like T as in Twitter, tchat.io. Very similar to tweetchat.com. Pretty much does the same thing. The layout's a little bit different. So I suggest checking them both out and see which one you like better.
As you said, you're actually a veteran of the Twitter chat space. Could you just go through a bit of how you got started with Twitter chats, how you found out about them in the first place, and just what you've been doing with Twitter chats over the year and how you built up to hosting your own chats? Sure.
So about 5 years ago, a little over 5 years ago, I started seeing these Twitter chats. It was new. You would see like people having these just tweets one after the other with a hashtag on the end. And it's like, what is this? What is happening? And then I quickly learned they were participating in a chat. And I thought, this is really interesting. What a unique way to bring people together on Twitter and have it revolve around a hashtag. So I decided to start one. At the time, I was running my music community. It's called Go Girls Music, and it's a community about bringing female musicians together. So my initial thought was to start a Twitter chat for my music community. I know that Twitter is public, so I know that anyone can see the tweets. So my thought was, let's start it for the music community. And if other musicians outside the community want to come participate, that's fine. And if music industry people want to participate, that's fine too. And so I picked a date and time and I just went for it. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I knew that people would come to this because there was nothing else out there like it. There were no chats for musicians. So I thought, okay, I'll be the one to start it. So I just did it every single week. And it grew and grew over time. And it just became this welcome place you could go to every week where you just to know everybody. You felt like you found your tribe of people. You found a group of like-minded people that want to connect and share their thoughts in the music business. And then about 1.5 years ago, I decided to start one that was strictly Twitter tips. I already started a podcast. It's called Twitter Smarter. And the podcast is me interviewing top social media marketers and having them share some Twitter tips. So I thought, well, why don't I start a Twitter chat, same thing, call it Twitter Smarter, and do the same exact thing, but in a Twitter chat. So I bring a guest every week and we all come together and we share Twitter tips. So people come and share their thoughts and their expertise, and then people come to learn, and it makes for a great community of people. So that's been my experience with Twitter chats. I also go and participate in ones that resonate with me. Since I love social media marketing, I look for ones that are in that area. There's plenty of them out there. And I like to go and participate. It can be time consuming because they're usually an hour long, and I try to go to 1 or 2 a week. It's a little bit of a commitment, but I connect with so many amazing people. And being that I host a chat, this is a great way to connect with people and let them know, not in a salesy way or a spammy way, but they get to know me and they learn that I also host a Twitter chat. And that's a great way for me to get some exposure, and they come over to my chat. So that's been pretty cool.
Okay, so how should people engage in a Twitter chat? Are there things that they shouldn't do? What are the do's and don'ts of a Twitter chat in terms of being a participant?
There are definitely some do's and don'ts. When you come on a Twitter chat, you want to kind of think about how this is a community of people, and they're there for a reason. And they are not there to sell. They're not there to promote their latest book or their software program or their product or service or anything. It's not there. You're not there to sell. And that's why I always stress the importance of having a really good Twitter bio, because if you have a good Twitter bio, what people are going to do on the chat when they meet you, they're going to go look at your bio and see, because this is what we all do. You know, if you come over to a Twitter chat, people are going to go, well, who is him? And, you know, why should I follow him? Why should I talk to him? What makes him special and unique? They're going to look at your bio and they're going to be impressed by you. And it's important for that bio to be really good and be compelling and draw people in. So when you're on a Twitter chat, they'll already know what you do. So you won't have to promote and be salesy, because if you have something that you're doing, you're in your bio, you've got a book, you've got an app, you got something you're selling. Most of us put things like that in our bio so people can learn about you from that. So we don't go there to sell. So that's the biggest don't of all. The big thing we do want to do is we want to engage. There are plenty of people that lurk on a Twitter chat. They will watch it, but not participate. And that's okay. I always tell people it's okay to be a lurker. And I don't mean lurker in a negative way. But it sounds, when you hear the word lurker, you're like, a lurker? It doesn't sound very good. It sounds very sneaky. But I've had people tell me that they'll lurk on a Twitter chat because they don't know what to say, or they don't feel like they have something of value to contribute. And what I always say is this: when you go to a Twitter chat, at least say hi. At least introduce yourself in the beginning of the chat. Let people know you're there. And if you don't feel like you contribute, maybe reply to some of the tweets and say, oh, that was really great information. Thank you for sharing. It gets you engaged. It gets you active so people know you're there, and you're going to make great connections. You're going to make great friends from doing this. So those are some things that are really important when you're on Twitter chats. Don't go there to sell. Don't have the mindset of that. Have the mindset of, I'm going to make amazing connections with people that can help me in business, that can help me with things that I'm doing in my career, or just to make new friends.
Yeah, I mean, in my experience, Twitter chats are both amazing for making connections and also in terms of getting new followers. I mean, and these are followers who actually do care about what you tweet, unlike some of the people who might follow you. Which is quite different from a lot of the things you see on Twitter. How do you go about setting up a Twitter chat? How do you let people know that you've actually started one and it's going to be at this time, at this date? How did you start your Twitter chats off?
The first thing you want to do is find a really good hashtag, because as I mentioned before, a Twitter chat revolves around a hashtag. So that's the most important thing. You got to have a hashtag that you really want one that no one else is using, because if other people are using it, then it will get confusing. So you want to go find a hashtag that's relevant to what you're doing, but also that no one else is using, or if they are using it, is very minimal. When I was first doing my musicians chat, I didn't really know what I was doing. It was 5 years ago. Twitter chats were fairly new at the time. So I used the initials of my communities called Go Girls Music, so GG. So I called it GG Chat. That's very generic. There are a lot of other businesses and people and things that have the initials GG. So I've had plenty of people over the years try to invade the hashtag and use it for things. So that has caused some issues for me. Not too bad, but looking back over the 5 years, today I would call it hashtag Go Girls Music because that's the name of the organization. People know the name, and that would make more sense. And for the chat I do for the Twitter tips is Twitter Smarter because I've really branded that name and that hashtag. So that's worked really well for me. Other people are not using it. So I highly recommend you go that route. Try to find something that is relevant to what you're doing, but other people are not using. And then to get people to come out, you just got to promote the heck out of it. You got to let people know you're doing this. So what you want to do is spend at least a few weeks promoting it and just telling everybody, let your colleagues know, let your friends know. Try to get your really good friends and colleagues to come on. So that way it's not a ghost town. There's nothing more frustrating than to start a Twitter chat, have your very first one, and no one's there. Okay. But on the flip side, I also tell people it's not about the quantity. It's not about how many people are there. It's about the quality of what you're doing, having a really good chat. I mean, I would rather have a chat with, 10 or 20 awesome people that are really connected and there to share and learn than having a few hundred people that aren't paying attention and aren't really that interested in what we're doing. So, you want to get people there, but it's also about the quality of what you're doing. So you want to think about what is it you want to do? Do you want to have guests and do Q&A? And so you want to just start lining up guests? Or do you want to just pick a topic? And every week you say, here's our topic, let's discuss. And that's a nice laid back approach. I would recommend first going on other chats. Go see what other people are doing. Get a feel for how Twitter chats are run. I always say there's no rule book here. You make the rules. You can do it however you want. You can say, okay, we're just going to meet every week for 30 minutes because that's all the time I have. I can't do an hour. That's okay. It's your rules. Just make sure people know what you're doing. Make sure you spread the message far and wide, that people know exactly what you're doing, what the hashtag is, what time is it? Is it going to be a regular chat? Is this just a one-time thing or just periodic? Let people know and encourage them to help spread the word because the more people that know about it, the better. But I always encourage people to start their own Twitter chat. I don't think there's ever too many. You might be in a niche where maybe there are a few Twitter chats, but maybe you can do something unique because there's a lot of benefit to starting your own chat. When you're the host of a chat, you get seen as a leader. So it's a way to really build up credibility in your industry. I've been running my chat for well over a year now. I did a big pivot from the music business where I was widely known as a social media marketer. I've been doing social media marketing for 11 years now, almost 12 years. So I've been known in the music world for that. But I wanted to get known as one of the top social media marketers. So I made this pivot last year and started the podcast and started this new Twitter chat. And it has helped build credibility for me as a brand. And that's been huge. So there's great benefits to just getting out there and starting your own and going for it.
Okay. So you've obviously mentioned that you're now becoming a social media marketing guru, and obviously you've got the music side as well. How can people find out about Madalyn Sklar and what you're doing?
The best ways to get in touch and see what I'm up to is through my website, MadalynSklar.com. And also on Twitter. I am 100% on Twitter. I live and breathe it. So you can catch me over there and easily connect with me at Madalyn Sklar.
I would suggest you spell it
Yeah. One of the benefits to having an unusual name is that it's easy for people to like remember me because it's a different name. But yeah, let me spell it because it is a little unusual. So it's spelled Madalyn Sklar. So Madalyn Sklar.
Obviously, it will be on the show title. You never know with podcasts where people will listen to it. So it might be somewhere where they haven't got access to or they overhear it in some amazing venue at this playing podcast. Though I've never heard anywhere play public podcasts, but you never know.
You never know. I like it best when people have headphones on and they're like maybe walking their dog or at the gym. And there's just nothing better than with the earbuds because it just, I like to listen to podcasts all the time and audiobooks. And there's something that's so intimate about listening with headphones or earbuds where you feel like, wow, that person is just really speaking out to me. And that's a nice feeling. So I hope people are enjoying this. Listening on some headphones.
Well, you've also got your own podcast.
It's Twitter Smarter. So I just really started branding that 3 years ago with my online training courses, my podcast, and my Twitter chat. So it's Twitter Smarter. Is on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and now in Google Play. So those that are on Android can easily find me in Google Play.
Unfortunately, as I'm UK based, I can't yet go onto Google Play. It's sort of one of the great bugbears of my life at the moment. So, yes, you can hear about Madalyn's podcast everywhere, even places I can't put mine, he said, sadly.
You'll get there. They'll make it available. I just know it.
So thank you very much for appearing on the show, Madalyn. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, please stop by iTunes and rate and leave a review. This helps make the show more visible. For free resources, show notes, and other helpful content, join the community at beginselfpublishing.com.